I served 6 years active duty in the United States Army. I was looking at the Air Force first, and Army, Navy, Marines. My father and I growing up were very close. He truly was one of the most loving, generous people I have ever met. It shook my world when we lost him. During my grieving process, I got to a point where I didn't really care if I lived or died. If I came home in a box, wrapped in a flag, that was my easy way out, because I didn't know how to ask for help. Don't be like me and don't suffer in silence and don't put it on the back burner. I spent, like it's the better part of a decade, going in and out of help, treated for mild PTSD.
On today's podcast, we have Chase Chewning. His personal journey, marked by overcoming physical injuries and mental health challenges, has been a source of inspiration for many. Chase is a coach, entrepreneur, podcaster, and most recently, a dad. Today, we talk about the importance of being ready for whatever life throws at you, readiness including how he sleeps, how he rests, how he recovers, and his life journey through having served in the military and then coming out in the private sector. And because of life circumstances, transitioning to health coaching. We hope that the tips that have worked for him will also work for you. Enjoy today's podcast with Chase Chewning. Welcome, everyone, to the Rest Factor podcast. I'm your host, Ana Marie Schick. I'm the sleep expert at Sleep Me. I'm a certified health coach. And on today's show, we have Chase Chewning. So it is an honor for us to have you on the show, Chase. I saw you, I believe it was last May when I was on your show.
Wait, has it been almost a year already? No way.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. When I pulled that one day, flew out to LA, or where are you? I don't even remember where I was flying to.
You came out and you
LA.
did the sleep masterclass tour for me and another show. Yeah.
Yes. And then flew back same day, beat the jet lag, did all the hacks, did all the necessary things. And actually, I don't know if I told you this when I got back, I had 4 hours between the time that I got back and had to be at an event for my kids at school.
Oh, wow. Super
and
mom.
I had 4 hours.
Jeez, that's
Yes.
impressive.
Well, and so I said, I am going to sleep and I'm going to get some rest. In that 4 hours, I got 3 hours of deep sleep, manipulating my body temperature.
Of
and
course.
like 50 minutes of REM sleep because I warmed it up. So I sent my sleep score, my sleep summary, my hypnogram. I sent it to the team and I'm like, this is what we do. This is why we do what we do.
Proof, absolutely. You know, I'm jealous there. I wish for years, I've always wished I could be one of those people that could just drop in and get a little bit of shut eye, but maybe it's just like the old military guy in me, but I'm just a firm believer that you only wake up once, and I can't nap and I can't do anything other than I wake up, I'm up for the day. And if it's a long day, it's a long day. And I just look forward to getting back to bed at regular time again soon.
Yeah. Well, you do have a lot of the toys and the tricks already in your back pocket. So you're ahead of the game already for our previous conversation. So your transition from military service to health coaching and podcasting has been remarkable. I've followed you for a long time. What motivated you to pursue this path? How have your personal experiences shaped your approach to wellness in general?
Great question. You know, I feel like I was kind of thrown into it, and just by happenstance, I turned it into my next career. So once I suffered those career-ending injuries in the military, and I say career-ending because I was active duty for 6 years. And at that time, even when I enlisted at 17 years old, I had this idea of going the whole 9 yards. So, 20 years in the military, you can retire, you got amazing benefits, blah, blah, blah. And I was like, man, at 37, that's still pretty young to retire. I could chill a little bit, maybe go on to the next career phase. But, life had other plans. And so when I went through those injuries and was really humbled as to what I could do physically for a pretty good period of time and what that meant for me professionally, because that window or that plan went out the window of retiring and kind of pursuing a military career. I just kind of had a little bit of downtime, honestly. But then Like
I mean, literally.
literally, I had a lot of downtime in terms of the surgeries and recovery. It was about a 15, 18-month process where I was just a patient in the hospital, at home, physical therapy, pool therapy, being rehabilitated in a bunch of different ways. And then I got medically retired from the military due to the severity of my injuries. And then I think it was about a 3 to 4 week break when I moved back to my home state of Virginia. And I realized that if I don't do something now, this could be a very easy place to stay at rest. And granted, I literally am still recovering. I'm still rehabilitating. Like nobody would think anything of me, I think, for me to just kind of accept my circumstances. But I just didn't want to. I had been active my entire life, growing up on a couple hundred acres in Virginia with my family, played sports, was active duty Army. So I didn't know what it meant to sit still, basically. And I just knew there had to be a different way. So during a lot of that downtime, during my recovery, I just shifted focus to what I could do. And I could study the human body. I couldn't move it the way that I used to. I could study nutrition. I couldn't, eat to train the same way that I used to. So I just really relearned my body and figured out that could be a thing. And so besides just reading books one-off, I was like, let me actually study this for real. So I applied to school back at Richmond, Virginia, into their exercise science program. Turned a couple heads because I was literally having my mom help me around campus. I was on a cane at that time and had to have help kind of getting, in and out of the car, and had to stop a lot to take breaks, hobbling along on this campus tour and signing up for classes. And when people were like, "You're signing up for exercise science," it seemed a little odd. But I was like, it can't always be like this. And so I realized pretty quickly during those studies that it not only helped me immensely kind of get ahead of the curve and rehabilitate myself and learn strength training in different ways and learn the body in different ways, that this was a career, that I could actually apply this in a new profession.
Wow. Certainly character building for sure.
Very.
That's
very,
amazing.
yeah.
That's amazing. And so, through Ever Forward Radio, you have had the opportunity to interview amazing, phenomenal guests, and in especially in the health and wellness field. What are some of the most impactful lessons you feel like you've been able to take away from them and that you've been able to apply in your own life?
I'll kind of say this all-encompassing theme is that, I've had a lot of people on from all walks of life, entrepreneurship, health, wellness. A lot of people have gone the traditional route, of studying and going to school and getting certifications or pursuing a higher corporate life. And others have come from just life, through being an immigrant or just hard life, family situations, and kind of learning the tough way. But one way, shape, or another, they all kind of landed in their greatness. And they all figured out that if I just choose to keep moving forward in life, and I choose to figure it out every day, that I can completely change, if not even rewrite my circumstances, rewrite my story, and have meaning and have value and have purpose, and then ultimately share that with other people, through a book, through a platform, through a podcast, through whatever their platform or product or service was. So I think the all-encompassing message from the now 860 episodes that I've put out over the last 7 years is that, to kind of quote, I think it's Henry Ford here, whether you think you can or you can't, you're right. The only difference between anybody that has been on my show that I'm amazed by their success or amazed by, their biohacks or whatever they have overcome in their business or their life or their health, is that it all just comes down to them making a choice every day to, kind of like me, not accept their circumstances and to figure it out and to make a better life for themselves and to make a better life for their family and their community. And also kind of not keep those secrets to themselves, sharing the wealth, so to speak, sharing, hey, here's what worked for me, here's what didn't, here's how I overcame this obstacle, here's how I had to pivot when this thing came down my lane, despite my best planning. So of the hundreds and hundreds of people that I've interviewed, there's some really unique tracks, so to speak, but really it all just comes down to everybody made the conscious choice daily to not accept their circumstances and to find a way daily to even just get 1% better, or even just to maintain, because sometimes in life, maintaining the success that you have, maintaining a body composition, maintaining healthy habits, maintaining business, maintaining whatever, still takes work. Just because you reach a certain level doesn't mean everything just stays magically, like you figured it out. Maintenance, I know in health coaching, maintenance is still,
that's what I was just going to say.
It's still very much a difficult phase. And, it's not to be knocked. If you're able to maintain the hard work that you have put in and, keep up some level of optimization, performance, success, then that is, I think, something to be admired.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. One thing is getting there, right? But then it's and the journey and appreciating the journey. But the other thing is, once you're there, how do you maintain it and not lose it, and and be able to roll with the punches and the setbacks and so forth. One of the things that I really appreciated about having been on your show, on your podcast, was at the very end, you asked me, what does ever forward mean to you? And I think that's the common thread that you've woven in between all your guests, all your podcasts, no matter what they're about. It's what does that mean? And we all kind of say the same thing in different ways and get there in different ways, but it's the there that you're getting at, which I think you do so well at kind of extracting from conversations. So caps off to you for that, for sure.
Thank you. And I credit a lot of, in any which way that I seem like I know what I'm doing on Everforward Radio as an interviewer, as a host, I really do credit a lot, and I think you'll appreciate this, to my years as a health coach, as an ACE certified health coach, and working in clinic with people for years. I really found that carryover into podcasting, that carryover into asking people the question of, my mantra and my brand and my family messaging, kind of through their own lens and through their expertise to kind of become humanized. So we both can, for lack of a better term here, come down to the same level and realize that we're just two humans trying to figure life out and get better in a few different ways along the way. Then, we can share those values and share those meaningful moments and kind of share those internal philosophies. And I think they resonate more and they click more, and we can, offer our 2 cents, so to speak, with each other.
Absolutely. And the continual conversation, right? Because just this morning, actually, it just dawned on me when you were saying that, I was having a conversation on social media. So what kind of conversation? But we're so kind of connected. We're disconnected. That was actually, I stole from Pitbull, but I was having a conversation.
Did Mr. Worldwide just make his appearance into the Sleep Me podcast?
Yes, Mr. 305. But it's true. We're so connected. Sometimes we're disconnected, but you feel like people just because of social media. And so it's a kind of a blessing in disguise, right? And this health coach that I was going back and forth with this morning was like, why are you asking me these questions? And I said, well, because sometimes I want to hear it from somebody else, or sometimes I want to bounce ideas off of somebody else. And the concept, just in health and wellness in general, I feel like the more successful people, the kind of peak performers in the field, are the ones that share. Knowledge is power, and rising tides lift all boats, and iron sharpens iron, whatever you want to call it. He was like, that's interesting. I respect that. I'm like, because my way is not the right way. You're somewhere in the middle, right? Works for some people some of the time. So that was a conversation that I was having just this morning, actually.
Yeah, if people kept all this stuff to themselves, then I maybe would be here doing the same thing, but I definitely would not have been in the position I was years ago to learn and to make my situation better. I'm only able to be here because of the lessons and value that other people shared through books and through podcasts and through social media content. Well, it wasn't really social media at the time. This is like kind of 2008, 2009 when I was on my healing journey. But if people gatekept
MySpace.
Actually a little bit. Yeah. But if people gatekept that information, who knows? I could have been in a totally different physical, mental, emotional scenario, because I wouldn't have had access to things that resonated with me and gave me hope and gave me options to completely change my circumstances.
Yeah. And there's a degree, I think, of selflessness that is necessary in a health coach, to not keep the information to yourself. If there's something that has worked for you or for a client, maintaining anonymity, privacy, but you can still share how
Mm.
you got there and share that with other people that may be waiting in the wings for the same information.
Absolutely.
Um,
Absolutely.
so that's been awesome. So you balance multiple roles as an entrepreneur, health coach, podcaster, and now, most importantly, recently as a dad. So congratulations
Thank you.
again.
Thank you.
How how I might have to say, how did you then and how do you now prioritize rest and sleep in your life?
Well, right now, what is sleep? Sleep is a sliver of of recovery and hope that I can maybe latch onto every couple hours every night. But I will say it's getting better now. Dean, my son, is about to be 7 weeks. Hard to believe. And the last week has been profoundly different. We're going 4 or 5 hour stretches now, but still kind of some.
Big money.
I know it's great. It's great. But which, right now, it's definitely been something I've had to kind of let go of. And I knew that this was coming. For years, I've been prioritizing sleep as my number one thing, as my personal wellness, and in my personal wellness hierarchy, but also when it came down to my career. I would really make my schedule around my sleep schedule. I would make my work schedule, my podcast recording schedule, my meeting schedule, my workout schedule, everything around making sure that I was going to bed at the same time, waking up at the same time. If I was traveling, what was I doing to prepare to reset my circadian rhythm? What were all my hacks and my jet lag kits and supplements and all the things? Now that's totally out the window. My number one priority is my son and my wife, and making sure that he's taken care of and I'm supporting her in the meantime. And then whatever I can do in between all of that to just take care of myself. And so it's just been a radical surrender, wholehearted surrender that, this is not a forever thing, but it's just a right now thing. But also a very, very grateful period of my life, because it has made me appreciate knowing what good feels like. And at first it was like a struggle to let go of such a good feeling of a great night's rest and getting a great workout and, feeling just ready to go. And you did all the things to take care of yourself and your business, and your health that day, to just, okay, what can I do to maintain? There's that maintenance thing again. And so it's giving me this profound level of gratitude for knowing what good feels like. And also the now, 2 decades, 20 years really of healthy habits. Because I know having those years of all of those reps and those healthy habits and literally changing my body at the cellular level inside and out year after year after year to now
Absolutely.
I'll be 40 years old in a couple months. And, all of the way that I feel and that I look in my labs and all this stuff, I feel very grateful that I put in all those reps all those years ago, because right now my body really needs it. It needed all that extra help and preparation to now go through this radical shift in sleep and energy and getting adequate hydration and calories and all the fundamental things that a lot of people struggle with, but they don't have that strong foundation. And I don't even want to imagine what it would be like now to be a new parent, to, not be in, we'll say, the health prime of my life, to have that rug yanked out from underneath me and feel even worse than I think a lot of people do that are on the standard American diet, that don't prioritize sleep or whatever their life circumstances are. They don't know truly what good feels like for them, because they have not put in the time. They have not made the daily choices to get those compounding effects for, maybe not even optimization, but just, just feeling good, doing a few things every day to just prioritize themselves and their health. Because when life does come down and changes on you, I think you don't know how good you had it sometimes.
Right, right. Yeah, so true. It's kind of like, doing the prep work, having had the foresight, right, and the forethought to do the prep work. It was kind of like a banking your wellness, banking your readiness. in the end turned out to really work for you. And if there's anything that you've, I'm sure in 7 weeks already learned, is as soon as you get used to something, he changes.
He does
As soon as
change
you
pretty
think you've got him
quick.
figured out,
Yeah.
it's like, oh wait, but that worked yesterday, didn't work today.
Uh,
But having the opportunity and the I guess the willingness to accept so much, right? I think for me personally, I was just the type where if I know what to count, if I know what to count on, then I can handle it. If I know what's coming, I can handle it. And you don't know what's coming. There's everything that's coming, and you don't even know what it is that you're waiting on. And I think resilience is one of the words that comes to my mind. And it also makes you a better human. You know, it strengthens, it strengthens strong relationships, and it tests maybe faltering relationships. And it certainly makes you, if you're a thoughtful kind of thinking individual, it certainly makes you analyze, what's at stake, what's at hand, what's
Absolutely.
what's ahead of you.
Absolutely. Very true.
So what are the top three, as you said, some of the hacks that you used to do before Dean? What are the top three sleep or rest hacks that you would say are non-negotiables for you every day?
Back in the good old days of doing whatever I wanted with my life, I would say really the most fundamental thing for me that made the most profound change in my sleep, but also then, my daily life was just committing to going to bed at the same time and waking up at the same time. A consistent sleep cycle, and that's going to look different for a lot of different people based on your lifestyle, based on your natural energy state, based on, even shout out Dr. Michael Bruce, your chronotype,
Chronotype.
yeah, figuring out what that natural state, that natural circadian rhythm is for you. Because we all have a slight variance. And so for me, once I figured out, okay, if I'm in bed by 10 p.m., which means I'm usually then asleep by, if I'm winding down, reading a book, talking with my wife, whatever, I'm usually asleep by 10:15, 10:30. And then I'm naturally waking up between 6:30 and 7. And so once I was able to kind of commit to that, like the rest of my life just fell in line, like no joke. I felt well rested. I was going to sleep, getting and staying asleep. And of course, having a great, Chilipad underneath me to control my temperature during the hot summer months here in LA definitely doesn't hurt. So I think temperature control, number two. So if I'm able to control the thermostat in my room, getting it as cold as possible. And then again, the Chilipad has been amazing, especially because then I can control my temperature. My wife can run her own game. And then other than that, I would say I kind of put these two together. So I'm going to cheat here and say number three is really number 3 and 4. Blackout eye mask and mouth tape. If nothing else, if you can't commit to anything else, if nothing else, I would say blackout eye mask. I think for me was the most noticeable, just literally overnight change. But that coupled with mouth tape has just been a true game changer. And not just in terms of my quality sleep, but I've noticed a big difference, especially with mouth taping at night, in my lung strength, my stamina, my endurance in the gym. Now, when I train, I like to train heavy weights. I'm not really like a high intensity interval training guy. Due to my injuries, I don't do really impact cardio stuff anymore. So I'm training heavy, and I typically take, a couple minutes in between rest periods. And that's how I prefer to exercise. But I noticed that even when I would kind of gas myself, going maybe for higher reps or really pushing myself with like a 1 rep max kind of thing, I was able to come back to the next set, the next round a lot quicker. I noticed that I wasn't breathing through my mouth at all. And it made me kind of go, oh, how much was I really mouth breathing during my exercise? So you train your body pretty quickly. You train your pulmonary system to only nasal breathe, not only when you're asleep, but during the day and during exercise. And when you do all that together, you're having a much better CO2 offloading and oxygen consumption. You're getting higher levels and more frequent levels of oxygen to your muscles all throughout your blood and every organ throughout the day, which then is like this positive feeding cycle of helping you get better sleep. Because if you have all that going on during the day, then you get ready to lay your head down and even put eye mask on, mouth tape on. It just gets better. It compounds all the time. So that's kind of my long-winded quick hack.
No, that's awesome. And it's just reinforcing. So, what you will sooner than you can imagine when your son is 19, like mine is, He is now trying to get me on the mouth taping train. He's like, Mom, I'm telling you, you got to get with it. You got to get with it. And he has also started sleeping with an eye mask because he's in the military. And so he's, sleeping with other people around him. And when people are up, he's not, and vice versa. And so he can just dial it in with mitigating the environment around him. And his latest thing is the mouth tape. And he's
Yeah,
like, Mom, you got
it
to
works.
do this. It's just incredible, the difference in how I feel and how I train.
The first thing I noticed night one when I tried mouth tape for the first time, I woke up about 10 minutes sooner than usual, just naturally, and even more alert. I'm that kind of person. I'm that annoying morning person that I wake up and I bat my eyes maybe 3-4 times. I'm like, all right, let's go. I'm up. I'm ready. And it was even more noticeably quicker than that. So I was up earlier, which is great. So I was getting great sleep still, condensed it down a little bit, woke up, got more time back in my day. Night one, noticeable difference.
Wow. Okay. So I actually ordered some. So I've got some. So that's my,
All right.
it's baby steps. Like, okay, now I've got it. Now I've actually got to use it.
Yeah, it's a weird one for some people. The concept of taping your mouth, and even guys with facial hair like myself. Like, I'm at a point now with my beard; it's getting a little bit in the way. But depending on the brand and the type that you get, I have no problem using it with facial hair. And some people kind of feel some kind of way about closing off their mouth at night. But the one that I use has like a tiny little corner quick release. So if you feel like, I got to get out of here, you can grab it and rip it off pretty quickly. It even has 2 tiny little puncture holes over the mouth. So if you absolutely need to kind of pull in some air through your mouth while it's on, you can. It's kind of like a claustrophobia thing for some people.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
there's definitely great ones out there.
Interesting. All right. Awesome. Well, so how can people learn more about Chase Chewning, Ever Forward Radio, and Operation Podcast?
Okay, so if you want to learn more about me, you can follow along my daily journey of dad life, entrepreneur life, and just kind of whatever I'm trying and using and succeeding in and failing in terms of my wellness and daily habits on social media at Chase_Chewning on Instagram. If you want to learn more about different ways to move forward in life, live a life ever forward, bringing attention and awareness to key areas of our physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being, check out Ever Forward Radio, wherever you enjoy podcasts, Apple, Spotify, YouTube, all that. And then, Operation Podcast is my other baby. It's my podcast production company. We're based here in LA. We've got studios all over town. We produce, edit, launch, monetize, book, do all the things for a string of great podcasts. I'm in one of our studios here. So if you're looking for a great space to record content or your podcast and you're in LA, come on in, operationpodcast.com.
And I can personally vouch for the fact that studio is just is spectacular. When I showed up, I'm like, man, and your staff and everybody in there is just great.
Yeah, you
So
were
it was a
right
great
across the table
experience.
from me here.
Yes, yes. And so, and right before I forget, obviously, I got your sleep tricks before Dean was born, and so now since then, more than sleep tricks because it's been so soon. I just want to commend you on the preparation that you did for his arrival, and then since then, giving yourself the grace and the time and the space to say, "This is my new reality, and this is what I'm working with, and it's amazing, and and life can be challenging, but great all at the same time," which I think in your case and based on everything that has brought you to where you are today, it's very much deserved. So congratulations to you and your wife, and give Dean a hug from us when you get home.
Thank you. It means the world. Yeah, now I'm kind of, back to work, so to speak. And, it's a double-edged sword. I know you know this of it feels good to kind of get back into your normal routine and get back to work and mingle with people and see people outside of your home for once. But also, I miss him. And as much as a struggle it is, and all the lessons he's teaching me and my wife daily, I love nothing more than just having little man up against my chest and just spending time with him. Even when he's screaming and we're changing diapers and all that stuff. But I'm here for all the above.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm sure people have told you, because there's people are always willing to give you their experiences and their advice. But all I can say is, with now my first gone away from home, the what is it? The days are long, but the years are short. So keep that in mind. It is like a blink of an eye, and they're off to do great things.
No doubt.
Which is what we want.
Exactly. Yeah. That's why we, have kids. We want to raise them in have them go off into the world and do cool things,
Go
right?
off. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Chase, it was so awesome to reconnect with you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
My
And we
pleasure.
look forward to staying in touch and doing great things together.
Yeah, thank you. And congrats, guys, on the new show here. This is great.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Information, inspiration, and opinions are my own and are not intended to be medical advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider before making any changes to your diet, exercise routine, medical treatment, or if you think you may have a sleep disorder. Conversations I have with subject matter experts are intended to continue our efforts to optimize your sleep for better health, more energy, and improved physical and cognitive performance.